Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Answer the Call. We're on episode 8, and this one's going to be a little bit different in the sense that all the other Answer the Calls were actually related to the game and gameplay and how certain things maybe should be implemented in the game. This was a suggested topic, and it was what's right below us. How should CIG market to new players? This is a topic that I'm fairly not well versed in, but it's a topic that I've discussed quite a bit on stream. Previously, I've actually made a YouTube video that was titled, I think it was Starter Ship Rant or something like that, because I had an issue with what a starter ship actually was, and I thought it was really hard for a new player to understand. I think it's really, really important, and this was a discussion that we had on that video as well, that we are at this point in the game where it's time to stop saying that it's a test bed, it's an alpha. I mean, it may still be an alpha, obviously, but it's time to start sharing the game and the actual game and how to play it with new players and bring them in. I want to preface everything with CIG does do marketing. They do market to new players now. They market in many ways. So I'm going to run down the list of how they market first, and then I'm going to go through some things that I don't like about how they market, and then I'm going to go through some suggestions on how I think they should market to new players, or maybe even just market in general, and then we'll take some calls and see what you guys think. I also want to see what you guys think about the waveform thing. It's a really poor implementation. My family's visiting from New Jersey. I kind of rushed this. I'm not really happy with it, but this is kind of the plan, is to have the waveform move when the people in Discord talk. For whatever reason, it's just bugged. It's not working properly. But thoughts on this and thoughts on if it actually works, what you guys think about it. Okay. So how CIG markets now is they market it in a number of ways. They market on YouTube, specifically their YouTube channel, right? Where they do Around the Verse, Reverse the Verse, Calling All Devs, and a number of additional content. We're specifically going to see another marketing thing related to their YouTube channel with the anniversary sale that happens every November. And how they'll market to overall players is they'll do these really cool videos on a ship that they're selling, right? How CIG funds the game is by selling ships, sort of. You are backing at a pledge level, and you are rewarded with a certain spaceship in-game by backing at that level. So it's not really selling ships, per se, because I know I'm going to get corrected on that quite a bit in the YouTube comments, but there's a pledge level. There's multiple pledge levels, all the way from $45 all the way up to $27,000 that you can give. And for people that are unfamiliar with Star Citizen, maybe that are finding this video, is CIG is fully funded by the pledge process. So allowing somebody who has a lot of money that wants to support the game with that money just makes sense for them. You don't need a $27,000 package. You can only fly one ship at a time. You know what I mean? So it's not. There's a lot of like negative connotations behind that, but those people are just really, really enthusiastic about Star Citizen, and they want to give their hard-earned money to the project and hope that it comes out really, really well or whatever. So with that said, CIG markets a lot on selling their ships and the coolness of them and the ability that they can create this vision in your mind of what you can do with that ship. And they do that really, really well. So they market those ships with like ship commercials on their YouTube channel, as well as ship sales and concept sales on their website. Okay. Then they market on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter with, hey, come check these things out. Look at this cool thing and so on. The very, very, very basic marketing in that sense. And then we've also seen magazine articles, specifically that magazine in Germany. The name escapes me right now. I'm sure the Twitch chat will help me out. But they market the newest, coolest content tends to end up in that magazine in particular. Yes, GameStar. Thank you. In that magazine in particular, when 3.0 was first coming out, which was the release of the Stanton system for the first time, where we can land on moons, that was shown in there. What else? I think a lot of the stuff that we're playing now in 3.3 and 3.3.5 was also kind of debuted in that GameStar articles. So I may be missing some other marketing tools, but those are the basic marketing tools that they're using now. The passive marketing tools are people like me that stream on Twitch and talk about Star Citizen very regularly. Guys like Board Gamer UK, who makes YouTube videos on the news and so on. That is marketing. They also market on Twitch, doing live streams and stuff like that as well. I kind of forgot about that. Like a CitizenCon live stream, that's a big marketing tool for them, right? A lot of those trailers and things like that are sent out in the world and people get excited about them, right? So those are the way that they market. The things that I don't like about the way that they market is, I would say 95% of their marketing, or the way they try and fund the game, is by existing backers or word of mouth right now. So we get excited about the game and people find out about it. You see guys like Level Cap, Board Gamer UK, lots of people that have tons and tons of referrals. Now, obviously, those referrals don't add up to 2 million. I think most people are coming to the Robert Space Industries website through their YouTube channel, through their Twitch channel, through their Twitter, that, forums, word of mouth from friends, all those things, right? But they are, right now, it's seeming that they're marketing mostly to current backers that already have a ship that want to upgrade to something cooler. So a lot of the money that's coming into the game right now are not from people that are like, wow, this game looks really cool, I want to play it. Now that's coming. Now I don't have the numbers in front of me, okay? I can only go based off of what I see with their ship sales, their concept sales, and so on. Concept sales don't come with a package. They don't come with a game package. So if you only bought that ship, you can't play Star Citizen, right? So they must be marketing to existing people that already have a game package based on that information alone, okay? That I don't like. I think we're at a point where you can start marketing to new players, and that's why I want to talk about how they should, all right? So the biggest issue that I have is that they don't market to new players. Now, how should they? It's tough. It's tough. And I think a lot of my hardworking Star Citizen Twitch streamers and YouTubers might be upset with this. But the first thing that I think would do really well is sponsored Twitch content. And not sponsored Twitch content to someone like me, WTFosaurus, Bad News Baron, those kind of guys. That doesn't make sense. All of their fans already play Star Citizen, already know about Star Citizen. Sponsored Twitch content absolutely would probably work. It's really weird. A guy like Burke Black, who we've seen has been streaming some Star Citizen in recent times with 3.2, 3.3, and 3.3.5. He has a big viewership, and a lot of those people have no clue what Star Citizen is, and they're seeing him have a great time in there. And enjoying it, right? And that brings people in. Is when you see somebody else having fun playing a game, you're going to get excited about it, want to find out more, maybe purchase it, right? So I don't know how much it would cost to get some of the larger streamers out there to play the game. I don't think it's ready for the masses just yet, but I do feel, and I feel this in my heart of hearts, is that when 3.3.5, the content that we have in 3.3.5 is not as buggy, frame rates are more solid around Hurston and Lorville, I really think that you can go and go to a streamer like, I don't know, we were talking to somebody that was a Shroud sub earlier. You can give that, you can give a key or some ships to Shroud that, you know, he can't transfer or whatever like that, and sell and say, here, play this game, enjoy it. I know for a fact when I've spoken to Sacriel about Star Citizen way back through like, you know, I sent him a donation message and then he was like, yeah, I want to hear more about it. And I think that actually could help. And I think streamers of that size no longer play games unless they're paid to play them, unfortunately. You know, Burke plays it because he likes it, and I don't think Burke realizes how much he actually probably helps the marketing of Star Citizen by doing that, right? Same thing with YouTube channels. I think you can get some more reach that way, relatively cheap, believe it or not. I'm sure much cheaper than putting on a live stream that they put on at some of their events. Other ways would be to actually start putting out like gameplay trailers of the gameplay that you actually have in the game, like mining and cargo hauling and FPS AI and all those things. I think you could start doing those things, or you could start thinking about those things. I also want to make this assumption now, and I'm a little disappointed I'm this late in the video, but saying this is I don't feel that CIG is or the Star Citizen builds that we have right now are ready to be marketed to people, and marketed to new players, right? We're still in that alpha phase. We're still in, and like worse than alpha, like a really, really rough alpha phase or a test bed kind of phase is what it feels like right now, right? I don't feel that we're ready for it. But since we're getting close, we need to start thinking about how to market to them, because they're not marketing to them at all, as far as I can tell right now. I think one of the really good things that they're doing is on their content on their YouTube channel that is really meant for people like us who watch Star Citizen content religiously and want to see the newest news. You have Sandy Gardner, who is Chris Roberts' wife, and one of the marketing directors, right? The vice president of marketing, I believe she is, hosting the show with him, but she doesn't know anything about the development of the game. And she asks questions as if she was a new person that doesn't understand anything. And I think that really helps new players get involved in the development of the game and all of that. So I think that's one of the marketing to new players that I think they're doing really well. But at this point, I'm going to leave this open to you guys. I think there's a lot of ways to go with this. I didn't give too many suggestions. I'm not as prepared as I should be for this, and I apologize for that. But again, I told you my family is visiting from New Jersey, and family always comes first. So I've been spending a lot of time with them. Yeah, so we have a caller ready. His name is Skylar, and we're going to bring him in and see what he thinks and see if we should even be marketing to new players anywhere near in the near future. I mean, that's a question that can be asked as well. Hey, Skylar, how you doing? You're on Answer the Call.
Hi, man. I'm doing great. Thank you for asking.
Okay. So what do you think?
Viewer, tier 0 caller. I actually disagree with you, surprisingly.
What's new? What's new?
I actually disagree with you, surprisingly. I thought we were a bit more aligned on this.
Okay.
I think word of mouth and marketing to current backers is exactly what they should do right now.
Okay, well, I phrased this. I really phrased this really badly. I think we're on the cusp of being able to market to new players. So I agree with you.
I don't think so at all.
Okay, so you don't think so at all. Well, I think we are really close. And I'm going to let you speak, but before I do, I really feel that we have Sea of Thieves style content right now, which is a playable fun game. We have voice over IP, we have missions that we can do, we have space that we can travel, and there's lots of moving parts, okay? And I think you can market something like that to a person that's coming into the game and market what's in and then market what's coming to those players. But go ahead. I'd like to hear
Yeah,
what you
but-
have to say.
But Sea of Thieves was a disaster.
That's going to be somewhere where we differ in opinions. I wouldn't call it a disaster. I
Okay.
think it's relatively fun.
Well, I don't think the game is in a state where you can market it to players, because I think you have to look at who you are marketing to, right?
Okay.
Like where would the new players come from? They won't come from the normal flight sim or space sim player base, because that's kind of saturated at this point, right?
Or they would already know about it.
Yeah, they would.
Okay.
They would know about it, right? So where do they come from? They come probably, like me, either from FPS background
Mhm.
or MMO background or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And these players care about other things. They need certain things to be there and working and fun for them to enjoy a game like this. For example, the netcode in Star Marine. I'm not sure what the progress on it is right now, actually, because I haven't played it in a long time. But when they implemented that, you had like the desync in like what you could see and what the enemy actually did of like 0.4 seconds or something. And I can tell you, no FPS player will play that.
No, of course not.
Never.
That game is a disaster. But that's not
but
the persistent
that's the
universe.
netcode,
That's not
right?
Star Citizen. Yeah. Of course.
Yeah, and it's even if it's a persistent universe, to these people that will feel awful.
Yeah. But
Then
are we okay? I agree with you that we're marketing to like likely FPS players and MMO players, but I think there's a way that you can market what we have now and what's coming in the very near future, and have something, because it's absolutely stunningly beautiful. The frame rates are not terrible. Okay, no. Do we have desync? Yes. Do we have bugs? Yes. Do we have bad netcode for your hardcore FPS player? Yes. Okay. Of course we do. But I just, in the end, no matter what, we're definitely going to agree to disagree with something like this, I think, because I think what's there, if it was a little bit more polished or a lot more polished even, I think you have a marketable product. It is not the end game. I think you're coming from a standpoint more of people want this really polished experience, right? And that's why you can't market it to them yet. But people played DayZ for a long time in the state that it was in because of the promise that DayZ had and the potential that DayZ had and how much fun it was for RP and this and that with the voice over IP and all those things, right? Same with games like Rust and stuff like that. I think people can enjoy Star Citizen, and it just takes people coming in and enjoying it where I think the new player audience can grow. Some people are saying DayZ is a very different game. It is, but it isn't. You know? It is, but it isn't. You're in an open world. You're in a kind of sandbox situation in both games. You know? You just are. So I don't know how they differ that much. But
the difference with DayZ is that DayZ is catering to their type of target audience, right? And these are the players that are playing it. You have the same in Star Citizen. The current backers are the target audience.
Well, to fund the game.
If you want to branch,
yeah,
but if you want to branch out to other target audience that would not normally be interested in the game by marketing, you can't bank on them seeing like the promise in the game. You have to, if they come in and what they play is not fun to them, they won't play it. Besides, DayZ isn't doing so well right now, but
no, obviously. I mean, I think that's a whole different story. I'm talking about DayZ like years ago, right? When it was in a similar state of what Star Citizen is now. I know DayZ stayed in that state the entire time, basically, and is still there. But I get what you're saying, okay? Like, if you wanted to market to the FPS audience, you need a really solid Star Marine. And they dropped the ball on Star Marine, right? Because you had that solid FPS audience come in and go, I want to try this out. And then they were like, wow, this is a disaster. And what did they do? They went away. And you get the MMO audience that comes in and goes, wow, there's only 50 players per server. There isn't one main server. This sucks, and they go away. You know? Well, what do you think the issue is?
I think the issue is that we have reached a point where the outside audience has formed an opinion on the game to the most part. Like, people have very strong opinions.
And most of them negative.
Like sometimes, right?
Yeah.
You could say that, right? And I think we have reached a point where words don't really matter anymore to those people. They want to see action. So I think how you market to these people is by actually fixing the stuff.
And I think they are
on the things they care about.
They're doing that though. So that's kind of why I'm bringing this topic up. Is we now have decent frame rates in the game. That was a major issue.
That is one thing, yeah.
Yeah, that was one major issue. There are many issues, yes. But that is one of the absolute major issues that people had when they came in. They saw the frame rate and were like, what the fuck? Now you come in and see a beautiful game and a decent frame rate.
I agree that that was a very big step because, but there's still a lot of very core aspects that need to be better before you can market to those people. Because, as I said, if they come in and what they see is fucking dumpster fire, in their opinion, then they won't play it, and they will go to their friend and tell them, don't play that shit, and you know, and that kind of snowballs.
Of course.
So that's an issue. There are different there are other components of the game that need work other than the netcode, which is obviously really important. But So,
well, okay. Well, how about this? I don't think there's any denying, and I'll actually let you go, and I'll let you listen to my my final thought here, and then we'll bring in our next caller. But the issue at hand here, I think, is I don't think there's any denying that new blood needs to come into the game, and you can't keep milking your existing backers. Oh, I mean, let you listen through the stream. Sorry, I wasn't clear. But I dumped him out of the call, and he was like, he didn't let me listen. I think the issue here is that there's no denying that we need new blood in the game, and we have to figure out a way to do it now or near now. There has to be a way to market to new people, because the only marketing that's happening right now is to existing backers, and they're just milking the teat of these people that are still, buying ships after ship after ship. I bet you most people's hangars are twice the size of what they expected them to be before the release of the game, right? And they just keep milking and milking and milking it, and eventually that's not going to work anymore. So I know, I just think there needs to be a better job marketing to new people, or at least start thinking of ways to do it. I don't necessarily think that we have to do it right now in patch 3.3.5, but I think there are some ways to do it. And again, I mentioned sponsor streams. I think seeing a streamer enjoy the game in the state that it's in and say, you know what, this game was a lot of fun. It's got a lot of potential, and we'll come back to it in the next patch probably, would be a really, really positive experience and a really, really good marketing tool for them. So you have to find the right streamer in the right situation, but I do think that could really work. That's why I didn't mention many other things, because to be honest, I didn't have any other ideas other than that. But I think that's one that could really work, is to sponsor content outside of the streamers that are in the Star Citizen community, right? We're already here. CIG needs large streamers to stream their game. streamers that stream Star Citizen need Star Citizen to get better. So like people like me, I need Star Citizen. Star Citizen doesn't need me, right? I don't matter to them. Like I think in some cases, like we matter to them. We're friends. We've been there the whole time. You know, I know people that work there, things like that. But in the end, for the game, Star Citizen's going to need those really large streamers on Twitch and YouTubers, and we need Star Citizen. You know what I mean? So it's kind of very different situations. So I want to make sure that, you know, I'm not here saying I should be sponsored playing Star Citizen. That's not the case at all. People outside of the Star Citizen community should be sponsored playing Star Citizen. All right, here we go. Wild Volus Prime, you're on Answer the Call.
Hello.
What are your thoughts here?
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
And we're going to do this every time now.
I do have a list of bullet points I need to list off to kind of set the stage and then let you guide the conversation. So,
all right.
I'm going to start with marketing. So, how do we market this game? I think CIG is marketing the game in a certain way that's supposed to showcase everything at the same time. I'm going to start my point off by saying, don't do that. Just show the game to the common gamer, kind of compare it to the games that are out now, and then compare certain aspects of Star Citizen to other games and how that makes the game better than everything as a whole. Because when people get into the game, buy in, they'll see everything as a whole. They'll see the game rules, they'll see everything.
Yeah.
So, let's see, first point. It's kind of the marketing to the common gamer. So my first point is marketing Star Citizen as a social. So I have a couple of games listed that live or die in the social game, especially here on Twitch. So I have Last Year the Nightmare, Dead by Daylight, Friday the 13th. They're social games that live and die based on the entertainment value of the people that are playing. And I think Star Citizen can be an incredible social experience that you can't find anything anywhere else that's like a sci-fi themed social experience. So you're playing something that's out of like an Isaac Asimov sci-fi book or out of Star Trek or Battlestar Galactica, and you're in it and you're chatting with people, you're in space, you're looking at something interesting.
And those are all things that they could do right now.
Yeah, and this is concerning the game as it is right now, not future wishy-washy, dreamy-eyed Treyarch.
Now, before we I just want to hit that point. I think we can go in the very near future. I think we can go a little bit into the future.
Okay.
But continue. Just because we kind of know what's coming in the very near future. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so let's throw in a couple more professions in Game Loop so we have something substantial and like planets, so we have like the full game.
Okay.
All right, next up, marketing it as a zen or a chill out game. You can market Star Citizen as a zen chill out game that people can completely bypass the game mechanics if they want to just chill out. Kind of like ED, No Man's Sky, just fly around looking at the pretty things. And especially like touring ships in Star Citizen, you can blend social and kind of zen chill out time to form like almost like a cross between social games and Star Trek Bridge Simulator, but you actually have some kind of more essence in the game. You're more rooted in the game. So it's basically the multi-crew and everything makes it a Star Trek Bridge Simulator, but it's also ED and No Man's Sky, but it's also multiplayer, so you can just hang out and talk while you're on a 600i or whatever. And you can have some kind of loose goal if you want to drive it a little bit more to game mechanic. I'll let you comment on that and move on to the next point after.
I have a hard time agreeing with that one. And I have an easy it's weird. I know a lot of people, like we had a discussion last week about casual players. That's appealing to what I would have called a casual player last week. And I know some of those players that go, I just want to fly in a ship and look at things and that's it. But I have a real issue with that because we also talked about that Death of a Spaceman post, and Star Citizen is a combat-based game, and they want you involved in combat as much as possible. They are going to try and push us into combat, this, that, and the other thing. But it's going to be combat related in most situations. So to market it as something that it's not meant to be, that's one where I might take issues with, even though I do agree that it can be that game for somebody, most likely, is that they can go and they can walk around a city and look at it in a safe zone where most likely nobody will hurt you. But again, we know that they're not going to have like perfectly safe zones. If somebody wants to pull out a gun and shoot somebody in a city, they should be able to do it, is how we were explained. So marketing as a chill out game, I just have some issues with that. But go on with your next point, because we have some more callers.
Yeah, sure. I'll do it really quickly.
Yeah.
Next up, showcasing what Star Citizen was trying to tell us from the very beginning, but more concise. So basically, professions and game loops, how you can go from FPS to ship to, and I'm touching on multi-crew lightly because we don't know much about it, but it's there. So you go FPS, ship, some kind of profession, you find some kind of valuable treasure or component, then you go back and you have like the full game loop. That's the sweet. Market that, but I also have a note here that they should market it traditionally. So kind of like Squadron 42 had like vertical slice, gameplay, and then classic trailer. Boom, traditional marketing.
Yep.
So Star Citizen, and I have like the 3.2 trailer listed as an example. Stop with the Dutch cuts, the cinematic trailers, the vague kind of ship flying in the distance week. In my opinion, Cloud Imperium Games needs to move away slightly from the dream kind of mood, the imagine trailer type of thinking, and move into the solid, concrete gameplay trailer.
I agree.
So show us something gameplay solid here. It's incredible. Like show us like a 50-minute like outcome of a mission, and then do kind of like a cool rewind. You can even do it like Cyberpunk style. You can do a demo, but then you can rewind, and it's like, what if you did this? What if you did that? What if you undertook a different decision that led you into an entirely different road, and then like rewind it again? And it's like, if you're a pirate on the opposite side, what would that look like? And I believe that's my kind of final nail in the coffin, kind of how to market the game. You can combine any of the points I said, but I think social and gameplay is definitely a strong point for Star Citizen.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more with get away from the trying to create an image in someone's head and actually show them what you have in the game. Because a lot of the problems with the people that have come into Star Citizen, whether it was an early backer or somebody that's here now, or just coming in now, they have a thought in their mind about what Star Citizen is. And this was even mentioned in Chris Roberts' like letter to the chairman, is that everybody thinks Star Citizen is something different than the other person. My vision of Star Citizen is different than yours, is different than Chris's, is different than everyone's is different. And the reason everyone is different is because of the way they've marketed the game so far. The Imagine trailer, these things where it creates this fantasy of what I'm going to do in the game. Well, we're at the point where we don't have to show the fantasy as much anymore, and we could start showing actual mining mechanics. We can show, I guess, some cargo hauling mechanics, even though there's not like the other side of it. We can show the mission giver stuff. We can show more of that, and they do that stuff. So the thing that you mentioned earlier about the 15-minute trailer, they do that at CitizenCon every year. They already do that, But and that's one of the ways that they market. That's one of the best ways that they market to new players is their CitizenCon and previously their Gamescom events.
Well, Torque, it's okay. I agree with you there. Very cool, but think about how many people see it. Like, sure, there's lots of people on Twitch to see a CitizenCon trailer, but the 3.2 trailer and like the very brief time Star Citizen was showcased in E3, which is way more kind of public facing. I mean, I know I'm like gasping at straws a little bit, but the very public 3.2 kind of cinematic cut trailer is the thing I'm against, and the CitizenCon thing is the thing I'm for, definitely. I'm kind of agreeing with you here.
Okay, I see what you're saying now. Like for me, I want to see more, like cut down mechanic type stuff. Like not a 15-minute CitizenCon thing or a 20-minute. This is how a mission goes, but I would like it cut down and show this is how a mission goes in a quick, small trailer and show actual gameplay and not the cinematic ridiculousness that we see now. But
All right. The final point is basically I'm gonna evolve your idea a little bit. So
Okay.
short form trailer E3. Give us a couple of minutes, maybe a minute 30 of like each profession and each kind of significant thing to do in the game, and just give us nice little cuts of gameplay that will make people interested.
voice
in more, 'cause
acted
E3
with
is more
face
about-
over IP, right?
Yeah.
Like you can add all these
Exactly.
elements to it. Yeah. I think that's probably the way to go. I like that, but yeah. Good points, Wild, and I'm glad we agreed and sort of didn't at the same time. We're kind of like on the same fence, like teetering on it. So, all right, let me let you go, and we'll bring Cayman in. Cayman is
Have a good one.
so next one. You too, buddy. Thanks for calling. Cayman, you're on Answer the Call. Welcome.
Good morning, Torque. Thank you for taking my call.
Anytime, man. What are you thinking?
My views on this topic are perhaps disappointingly conservative.
Okay.
I'm pretty bummed out that we don't seem to agree, but this could just be down to my lack of imagination with regard to marketing.
I'm
don't
not a
believe-
marketer, so yeah.
Yeah, I think that the previous caller made great. Like, I felt like he took the conversation to a great path, and I don't know how I'll be able to follow that, but I do like the idea of that you and he kind of discussed revising CIG, revising how they do their existing things, and that's kind of what I'm going to touch on.
Yeah.
So I don't believe there's anything significant CIG should or even can do at this point to reverse the perception a new player would have about the project without an expensive or cumbersome marketing effort, which would just come off as contrived or a waste of production to existing backers due to the state of the game. I think they're better off keeping their existing backers happy and letting that satisfaction drive the existing community to serve as guides and soft marketing to new players. You mentioned that you don't matter, and I couldn't disagree more. I think you're an essential part of the community. You're by far my favorite streamer for Star Citizen.
Thank you.
I love your content. And I think that the steadfast effort that people like you and other informed backers put into taking the edge off of the reductive, misleading information put out there with the game is very valuable to CIG. None of us can say how much, but I think it's very reasonable to say that it's a huge part of how they've been able to grow and how they've been able to take on new people. And I want to go into just traditional marketing. I'm not a professional marketer. I'm just a layman. I'm just a regular person. But it's my conception that good marketing is effective. That's why it's so expensive. That's why it works. That's why people pay for it.
Yeah.
And I did a quick search and found that the average small business spends over $100,000 a year on digital advertising. And CIG is anything but small nowadays. This doesn't even delve into the astronomical cost of other media advertisement like television, which goes into the billions, since TV is a dwindling media, especially among PC gamers. But being the largest crowd-funded game in history, with this level of open development has attracted a great deal of publicity. Much of that publicity is unfortunately negative, but I imagine that Star Citizen draws a lot of new eyes every time it dominates the news cycle, even if the coverage isn't particularly positive. And most new players are coming in through the miasma of that negative press. So they're open-minded enough to challenge that negative press and to see past that reductive information to at least explore the game and give it a shot for themselves. And that level of open-mindedness, I think, is the key, trying to maximize that, trying to simply put media out there using their existing strategies that play on that and that really appeal to people who are reasonable and who want to give it a shot. But the fact remains that the game is not in a state right now where I think it can benefit from any significant marketing effort. And even in the future, let's say a year or two, I think that they would be better served by refining their existing strategies with the content that Jarrett produces and with the content that they double dip by uploading VODs for CitizenCon, for instance.
Yeah.
As I see, there's only two major marketing strategies CIG should focus on: development of the PU and development of Squadron and the release of Squadron. I see Squadron as their flagship marketing tool because it is inherently marketable. Look at their most recent trailer. Look at all the the starry-eyed. I mean, I almost had a tear in my eye when I saw
Yeah,
the trailer.
me too. Me
It was
too.
a magnificent
Yeah.
trailer, and so it's a very, very marketable product. It's a single-player game. People are yearning; they're thirsty for it. So Squadron serves as both a narrative and a gameplay precursor to the PU. It'll be in Squadron, there'll be a tutorial for spaceflight, as I understand, and it'll also be an introduction to the type of interaction fidelity that will be mirrored in the PU. So I see the release of that game, the release of Squadron, as pivotal. That will be the point where they start to prove all of the negative press wrong, and where everyone starts to pay attention, including the existing backers, but especially new players. So I think that they just need to focus on the grind, keep doing what they're doing, keep Squadron going, keep bolstering the development of the actual game, so that what people are playing, what the existing streamers are doing who are not getting paid by CIG, but are putting in their hard money to develop their streams, sometimes at a loss, putting in their blood, sweat, and tears, people like you and some of the other content creators can continue to put in all that hard work and show off the game for what it is. I don't think that they need to go too much beyond that, or even should really try, especially at this point, because it will come off as contrived. And even backers like me will bring up concerns that they should be spending that money on developing the game. I mean, it's already clear that they have negative press. It's already clear that they've had a lot of these reductionist, misinformed media put out against them. The only thing that they can do to reverse that and to make themselves redeemable is by developing the product.
Okay,
So
I
we don't know-
agree. I agree. But now here, I just want to interrupt you here, because one of the issues that I have, and I wish I mentioned this earlier, this really came from, and I told you guys, I'm sorry I wasn't as prepared as I should have been for this show today, is the fact that I agree with a lot of the points that you're making, and that what they're doing now is going pretty well, and that they really do need to keep the current people happy. But the issue that I have now is that a lot of the time on their current marketing material that they use now is they talk about Star Citizen like it's a game. They talk about it like it's finished way too often. And the reason you have this bad connotation about the game, and that people laugh about it and make fun of it and call it a scam and all these things, is that they did a terrible job explaining the state of the game and where it is now, right? And by doing all the things that they continue to do now, is they continue to pile on and pile on and pile on that. And for them, that may be okay, because in the end, it all comes down to exactly what you said, is once they make the game, that'll shut all the haters up, right? But at the same time, it like they still do really keep piling on. And one of the things that I really do like that I'm seeing from them in Answer the Call, in ATV, is you see Sandy going and talking to Chris like one of us, that is like, I don't understand, why is this so hard? Why should this be so hard? Why is putting a female model in the game so hard? It's just a model. What's so difficult about it? And then Chris explains what's so difficult about it. They're doing that now. They should have been doing that the whole time. You know what I mean? And that's where I'd like to see more of a shift. Like, that's a way to market to new players. Even though you're doing the same thing that you're doing right now, is doing a better job explaining to people that you're not buying a game. Nobody has any clue how to buy the fucking game. How about that? Like, that's a way to market to new players. Make it easier to understand how to play the game, how to buy the game. Nobody knows how to buy the fucking game, guys. That's a problem. That's money out of their pocket. You know? But yeah. End rant, sorry.
No, I completely understand, and I mirror your frustration. I absolutely understand, and I think that you made some great points, especially with regard to the ATV. And I think that kind of, it touches on some overlapping issues, because that is a marketing thing, but it's also a PR thing. It's how they communicate with existing backers. I think that's great just for me, and I followed the game for years as well. I'm a relatively new backer, but I followed the game closely, for years, ever since 2015.
They market to us very well.
Yes, and I think they're refining that and improving it And that's kind of my point. And I feel like that's kind of your point. I feel like we're probably on the same page. Maybe you're at the beginning and I'm at the end, but we're probably
Maybe.
in the same neighborhood. But I do think that they should, and again, barring some readability improvements or website or enhancements, to their pledge store, to the presentation of starter packages, for instance, which I think is a no-brainer, and it's not really that significant of an effort. I don't think there's anything really significant. When I think of marketing, I'm thinking of a strategy that's going to be expensive potentially. But if I think of small things like how they engage with people in ATV, that is a good idea, or how they truncate or shave the presentation of their trailers, especially trailers that are designed to advertise the game, to present it as an alpha in an intelligent way. I do think that it's important that they do it within the constraints of what can be expected at that time. And I think that they are getting better simply because the game and the product is getting better. So it's less contrived because there's more to show off. You understand? So there's more novel materials and things like that. In the past, it was worse. They contrived all this content and this sense of explore and do anything and all of that. And there wasn't really the capability of that. I remember somebody pointing out in the 3.0 trailer, which I thought was incredible, the footage that they were able to shoot. A lot of that stuff you couldn't do.
Yeah.
Or I remember there was a segment, and I don't remember where I saw this exactly, but there was an amazing fight segment. I think it was in the Caterpillar with FPS combat, like group FPS combat in the Caterpillar. I felt like that was extraordinary footage. I don't know how they shot that because you could.
Where'd you go? He's gone. No. Well, Cayman, I think we just had our first technical difficulty, so I'm gonna put you in the next in line, or I'll put you in caller dump, because we do have a couple more callers, and I think you had a really great call so far. I'm sorry that something happened, but I just dropped Cayman out. We got Memestein and IDD next, but for those of you guys that are in the Twitch chat, a big round of applause for Cayman. He's always a really, really good caller and did a great job today. Okay, IDD and Kazu?
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the one, the only IDD KFA, also known as the Memestein. Take it away, boys.
That was Kazu, one of the mods. Welcome, Memestein, or IDD.
What up, guys?
So what are your thoughts, bud?
First off, when you ask how CIG should market to new players, do you mean how to make people aware of Star Citizen, or do you want them to buy into the game right now and play?
A little bit of both. I think you can be made aware, and if you're made aware of this game, you're most likely going to be interested in buying it. No matter what state it's in, you're going to be interested in buying it at one point or another. Even if it's just to create an account, to want to purchase it later, I still think that that's important to do now. And I think that there is a lot of people that actually don't know that this game exists, and if they do know it exists, they hear what they hear out there from those negative people that don't follow it enough to see kind of the hard work that's going into it, the technical challenges that they're achieving, and so on, you know?
Yeah, I agree. But there are also good examples, like somebody, like last month ago when Henry Cavill tweeted, "Oh, guys, by the way, I'm in this
game,
Spartan 42 thing."
Yeah.
That had a pretty positive resonance. So
Luke Skywalker did.
And Mark Hamill as well,
Yeah.
and all the other guys. So you have good examples as well.
Yeah.
So I think on the PR side, to make people aware Star Citizen exists, I think CIG checks all the boxes.
Okay.
Everywhere.
Do you think they're doing enough?
Out there. Yeah.
Okay.
Because the other part, to get people play the game right now, I think. So I agree with other callers saying that Star Citizen just isn't there yet, because I think you lack the stability
Yeah.
and playable content. Like we had the example with Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves had stability, but very broad and repetitive content, and that wasn't enough to keep the players around.
Yeah.
And I think if someone wants to play a finished game and starts up Star Citizen, he has like the exact same experience as in Sea of Thieves, and with a lot of server crashes and instability and some frame drops as well. So
Okay,
I
that's
don't
true.
think the game just isn't there yet to be playable by someone who expects, let's say, a DayZ experience in that case. Because DayZ had two branches, right? A stable branch and the experimental branch.
Hmm.
But I think Star Citizen has two branches, but none of them are stable.
That's true.
So they would actually need a third branch that is a stable one, but that's just not doable.
Yeah, that's
So
silly.
Star Citizen isn't DayZ. Star Citizen is way too big to maintain 3 branches. That's insane.
Yeah. Okay. So you and I'll probably let you go because we're now at the point where I'm getting in the danger zone here. I do have to pick up my cousin from the airport. It's my grandfather's 90th birthday today, and we're pushing it a little bit. So I'm gonna let you go, IDD. But before I do, I just want to make sure that we're clear. You like what they're doing right now, and you're cool. Just keep doing what you're doing, and when things are better, then we can start talking about this.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, and then Typhooni's coming in. Typhoony, welcome to answer the call. How you doing?
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, very good. All right, yeah, I just want to start off like I have spoken you for the last time at Gamescom 2016. I met you in the queue and we made a
Yes.
picture, so pretty cool.
That was a great time.
Oh yeah, it was. So I see you want to market the game already to the new players and stuff, and I do see where you're coming from actually, but I have quite a few points where I disagree with you.
Okay.
So to start with, as the new players come in and they get a pretty bad experience, well, you have a marketing term called a bounce rate. So for example, if you have a website and people can't find on the website what they need to find, they basically bounce off, they have a negative experience, and they go away. They basically get at your landing page and then boom, they're gone. Maybe you can make a little bit of a comparison with that with Star Citizen as well. Like, I don't know.
Do you have a
It was
marketing
just a
background?
tell, right? I do. Yeah,
okay.
I do.
Awesome. I was
studied a
hoping we
little
would
bit,
get somebody like you to call in. Perfect.
All right. All right. Another thing I was thinking about, like you made a comparison with DayZ and stuff, and I usually make that comparison a little bit as well because in the end I think we're going that way a little bit. But the thing is, we are not there yet, I think.
Mhm.
Like DayZ is known for a lot of player-generated content. So you had this interaction, this physiological interaction. Like, is someone an enemy? Is he friendly? And there were high stakes, you know? You had loot on you, you had weapons. If you shot someone, you can take his weapons, even take his mats and stuff. And there was a lot of mechanics playing in. Like, you had illness, you could have lost blood or something, and you needed blood bags to fill yourself up. You needed ammo, maybe. You don't have those mechanics currently in Star Citizen. So those gameplay loops are not in. You can't even loot someone. You can't. I don't know. I don't think you can even loot the AI currently. So those
just their gun when they drop it.
Yeah, just their gun, I believe, but nothing like a map pen or something like that. So I think those player-generated interaction, what I call it, that's just not there just yet. And I think if you have a DayZ thing like DayZ mod, like it was back in the days, 2012, I believe, you got this self-fueling thing. Like you can go on forever. Gameplay is being generated over and over again, and there's a lot of interaction.
Yeah.
Also, I think there's no great user experience yet to cater for the new players just yet. Like, for example, if you create a party and someone dies, you can't revive him. You can. There's no way to get back in the
There's
game.
no
really
injured
quickly,
state.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Like if you want to have new players, want to have group dynamics and stuff, it's going to be very interesting to at least revive each other or patch each other up, which is all planned for. I know that, but it's just not there yet. So I don't think we should market to the new players just yet because of that reason. Also, the player hauling, like ship to ship communications, that's not a thing yet. If you have that, I think you're a little bit more close to a Daisy like experience. But that's just my opinion regarding about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, yeah, I'm just making my point and
I'm not
continue.
rushing.
All right,
ahead,
all
go
right, good. What I also believe is that CRG is actually doing your point already a little bit. Like they're marketing to the new players already a little bit, but in a very controllable doses. Like next week, 23rd of November, they're starting this free fly week again.
Big free fly.
Yeah, big free fly. I think it's 5 or 7 days. I don't know exactly, but really, you can see getting a lot of new players in. I think what they just want to control it. Like they get an overflow of new players. They go around all the feedback they gather right then, and then in half a year or something, like in 6 months, maybe 9 months, like maybe next CitizenCon, they do another free fly and see what the state of the game is for themselves. Reflect upon that thing they did, but more in a controllable doses. So if you just go advertising in the wild right now, you don't really control who's coming in, who's exactly seeing your ads and stuff and that kind of things. So I think the free fly week is a very nice consensus way of gathering all the feedback and getting all the information of the new players and see how they go about that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, lastly,
it makes sense.
I think your points are pretty legit. Like we can go continue like the current player base. You can only go so far.
I can't believe it's worked this long. I can't believe that. Now, obviously, the reason that it continues to grow is because new people do come in every day. There's no denying that there's more and more players that are coming in every day. I guess why I'm asking this is should the marketing shift more towards new players than it currently is now, and how should we do it?
Yeah. Like I said, I think there's a fair point for you, but I think like in 9 months, your point will be spot on. Like in 9 months, we should be advertising. If you looked at the roadmap right now, we have a lot of gameplay loops being implemented. We got repairing, we got salvaging, we got some other stuff coming up. And that's going to be really interesting. Also, I think as soon as the Armistic zones go away, I think there will be a lot more player dynamics and stuff. And it's going to be really, really interesting.
Yeah.
And that makes the game so much more alive. And even in the near-term future, like even in 3.4, there's a few stuff like the comms, the ship-to-ship communication, I believe, is in 3.4 to improve a little bit on that and stuff. And I think that's going to be really interesting as well. Really get those player dynamics. Then the next hurdle, I believe, is to make this player dynamics valuable. Like, for example, you have a lot of cargo. I say, I want your cargo, and I can actually take your cargo, or maybe even, I don't know, steal your ship, do something with it. But
which so many games do, and we're not there yet. And that is a big part. Is ruining someone's day.
Exactly. And but I
or
think
making your own,
exactly. Like there's always a gain and a reward and risk reward and stuff. And I think if that's not in the game yet, we should not market to the new players just yet, or just like in a very condensed way, like CRG is doing with the free fly stuff.
Yeah.
But for now, they should really hang in low. I mean, just check the funding chart and stuff and look how continuous it is. Like they're in a solid spot, I believe. And I think we're actually in a spot where even the people which are invested right now, they are saying, "Oh, hey, we're getting here, so let's just keep investing." I mean, I don't know, maybe. It depends.
Yeah, we'll see. I think people are like, I was hoping that I would come to a new solution, or we'd come up with some cool idea, and I'm definitely leaning more towards what a lot of you guys are saying is we're probably not quite there yet. But all right, Typhoon, thank you so much for your call. Let me drop you out and bring in our last caller, okay? But yeah,
right, thank you so
you
much
guys are
for
bringing me
having
around. No, anytime.
Have a nice stream. Thank you.
All right, man. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, our last and final caller is ASN. ASN, what's up? You're on Answer the Call.
Hello. Yeah,
Hello.
great to be back. I'm just gonna make 2 points on this because a lot of the viewers, Collins, just touched upon very, very good points.
Yeah.
So I want to take a two-sided approach. Like as many stated, the game needs to be at a position where new players are more attracted to it,
Okay.
and at the other side, the marketing needs to use the Tesla strategy, which I really, really like.
And what's that?
And that strategy is basically marketing an idea and a product and its quality without using marketing money, because you kind of use your potential or customers to market the idea further. So it's kind of like
check out my
you
car,
know-
it's so cool.
exactly. So what Star Citizen is going for it, I'll start with the marketing side and I'll go to the game side. Going for itself is the screenshot tool and the very,
As
very
much as I
skilled
hate that. But yes.
community. Yeah, yeah, and a very skilled community that is making amazing videos and machinists, and like this community isn't stopping this marketing.
It's
Actually,
only
the
going to get
community is
so
driving
much
the
better
marketing.
with face over IP when that actually they fix a lot of the issues with its initial implementation. The amount of machinima is going to be insane, and I think that's what goes into what one of the other callers said. I'm sorry, I forget who it was that was talking about the game as a social experience, right?
Yeah, it definitely is, because like the community is doing more marketing than CIG is, and I think it's going to be more and more and more, because
Yeah.
like that's why the marketing tools in the game in a way allow the community to market the game for themselves.
Yep.
Because most of the people I've seen, they aren't coming through PC Gamer articles or Polygon articles. They're coming through the footage they've seen from other
On
players.
Reddit, yeah.
So, yeah, they're seeing other people enjoy this visually attractive game that sounds interesting, but they don't know how it is, and they kind of like get in. So CIG should give more tools and more power to the community to market the game for them, and they do this by playing anyway. So I think that should be more support on CIG side to support the community to market the game, and which is already happening, but it needs to be even more. I think like there needs to be more tools, more more methods of getting the game out there for players.
Yeah.
And so that is the marketing side, I think, and also like what others mentioned about the accessibility of the website, the accessibility of the game. Like
That's one
I
of
should be
the
able to
worst
hop
things.
in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many layers until you get to the thing you really want, which is like so. Yeah. So that's that side, but that's already mentioned. So on the game side, I think more resources need to be pulled to make the starter experience more accessible.
And I think they started doing that. We have the tooltips. That's a big step. When you first get into the game, you have tooltips, press this button to do this thing. That's a big tutorial kind of thing, right? That we didn't have before.
It is some help, but
clearly
I think
not
I'm
enough,
more,
but yeah.
Yeah, I'm more leaning on, of course, there needs to be a tutorial for sure, but I'm more of a fan of letting the player play, and the tutorial kind of is a side thing that kind of helps you while you're playing. So no, but what I really want to get into is like most players who get into Star Citizen will start with a starter ship, right?
Of course.
And I think the capabilities of the starter ship should reflect the professions a player can get into. So if I have an Aurora, and let's say I want to try mining, I really cannot right now.
Yeah.
And that is a very big no-no for starters, because a starter player should be able to feel every gameplay element in a game without getting too deep into it. So easy to get into, but harder to master kind of deal.
Yep. And
So
those
they
are
need
always
to-
the most successful games, right? Games like Hearthstone,
so-
League of Legends.
Yeah,
These are the
games,
most
yeah.
popular games in the world. Are
Yeah,
the games
so
that are
it's-
easy to get into. Poker, same thing. No
Yeah,
Limit
for
Hold'em
example, yeah.
is one of the easiest games to figure out the rules, but it is, definitely not one of the easiest games to be very good at. But
Yeah.
it is relatively easy to be very good at it. But again, like it was always marketed as easy to learn, difficult to master, right? And yeah.
Yeah. And like that's very key, because once a player can see, okay, like next year, for example, oh, I have my Aurora, but can I salvage with my Aurora? Can I repair with my Aurora? Can I, mine with my, can I trade? Like you can trade, but like not really right now because, there's no box
Yeah.
underneath. But like what I'm saying is, the marketing, like the game is going to market itself if, the tools and the dedication to community is there, and it is there.
Yeah.
And more people are going to come in, but now they're faced with this starter experience that is incredibly limited to two or three ships, where you can only experience maybe 1 or 2 professions game.
Now, someone
yes, you
in
can
chat,
experience all the social side though. Yeah.
someone in chat, and I know people have mentioned me about interrupting and they don't like it, but I have to here.
No.
Is that someone in chat makes a really good point, a counterpoint to you, is that starter player should be able to do most things with a hand tool element, where I can mine a rock on the ground with a hand tool. Now, unfortunately, it wouldn't be on the ship, but which, I think we all know that Star Citizen ships are kind of the center of the game, and I agree with you there that it should be more like you should be able to mine, like maybe have a little crappy mining laser on an Aurora or something like that, just to experience it, but not be able to mine a rock that you make 30,000 per rock from or whatever. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But
yeah.
I don't necessarily disagree with that, and those locations are only around like the starting area that you would be in, and you get an experience of what you might want to go into and play, right? Because if you go and play a free fly, you should experience a lot of things, and you should go, ooh, I really enjoyed that. I really want to keep doing that.
Yeah, but free flight is one thing, but then you also have like pretty much 99% of the year where new people are coming in. And that's why like next year, my expectation is, again, that tool is a great idea.
Yeah.
So players, it's just letting the player experience a bit of something and leaving the rest kind of like, unexplored and like exciting. Like, oh, there's so much more to mining. There's so much more to salvaging. There's so much more to repair. This is just the beginning. And that's like, when you get into a new game, what excites you when you see at the very beginning is there's so much more to it. Yeah. There's just, I have hours and hours here, and that thing right now in Star Citizen, that's one of the things that's missing. Okay. And I hope next year that should be in for the starter experience. And that's a key element of marketing the game to new players.
2019, the year of Star Citizen, boys.
Yeah, it wasn't 2018. Now it's 2019.
Or 2017.
But yeah, thanks for hearing my opinions, and I'll let you pick up.
Or 2016. Answer the call, guys. ASN, thank you so much for your call. Right. I appreciate it.
I hope this was not a tier 0 call, but
no, it was a tier 0 call in the terms of tier 0 faces. Good call. All right, man.
All right, later. Take care.
Have a good one. All right, guys. So that was Answer the Call. As always, I hope most of you, for those of you that got through the entire video, this is what Answer the Call tends to be, is I start out with an idea, and then we talk about it, and we discuss it, and we kind of, usually towards the end, seems to come to a consensus of what we kind of agree on with the topic. Sometimes we agree to disagree on some stuff, but overall, I usually have one idea, and by the end, you guys have convinced me on another one. Maybe we aren't ready yet. I think there may be some things that we can do, but overall, for a big marketing push for new players, we probably aren't ready yet for that. So I really hope you guys enjoyed the video, and make sure you hit that like button, subscribe for more videos like this in the future. If you guys are watching on YouTube, I also stream on Twitch. Come over Sundays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Become a caller yourself. Join the Discord and hang out in the stream and enjoy it live. You guys are mentioning this Twitch chat. It's pretty fun. All right, guys. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, everybody.